But Earth shouldn't worry. Jeffy Poo-Poo and all of his other Earth friends who yell out climate change and planet global warming in silence, they had another Tibetan bring over probably 40,000 million other Tibetan women who had those other boys and those men to keep those feminist Tibetans who have no gender quiet and calm in silence, who then made finally what they call the documentary, finally explaining, finally doing what they repeat all the time and never explain in silence. His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama, they say, will explain what he did in silence, out loud, instead of what he does in silence. They're going to say to everybody about what their language does with their mathematics of time and their film, the moving image, in silence. They're going to do what they do with their economics and have these empty businesses and shops where all they do is send climate change out the door with those self-driving cars, but instead of those technological slaves, they have operators who designate their bodies and their brains as not necessary for common sense involving the neurons in the synapses. They mostly do with their behavior. Everyone keeps track of with the observations they listen for in their brains. They use for their psychology to keep everyone safe and secure when they see what they want to talk about with China, to brainwash everyone and tell everyone about what they learned when they stuck their genitals out with no gender, with their hands and their beers and their whiskeys and their drinks, instead of learning about the consciousness. They kept a secret and a mystery before I was born. To have a hot dog and a beer, a glass of wine and a pizza with a fire. Hot. To go with the cold margarita they drink, blended with the infinity that Bill Gates makes in Cheyenne, Wyoming, with this South Korean mathematics of logic and mathematics in a matrix simulation repeating in silence. He uses with his language he spoke when he kept track of his daughter and all of his children on the monitors when they were running around with no gender and no clothes. When he was working and needed to know what they looked like when they had no gender and clothes. During those seconds and minutes, he said to them to make sure where they were, he was okay with in silence, to always know their year and date and month when they might disrupt his duality in silence and mathematics of infinity.